afternoon, everybody, and as you can tell by the title of this video, after a lot of prayer and thought, I've decided to cancel myself on Coffee Chatter, but there's something better coming, so don't freak out or get all depressed and sad. There's something better coming that I've come up with. It's a little bit more of a ministry than just a show. There'll be lessons through YouTube and Periscope, as well as Bible studies, book studies, and prayer nights. So if you have Twitter and you have a smartphone or an iPhone, please download the Periscope app, as that will be the majority of the thing I will be using, but I will also be recording all of the nights on YouTube. For those of you who don't have Twitter or don't want to download Periscope, I believe if you download Periscope and you don't have Twitter, I think you can still create an account specifically for Periscope. But if you have Twitter, it automatically connects with your Twitter page. So I'm not sure if you create a Periscope if you'll get a Twitter page or how that works, but please look into downloading Periscope, and if you can't, then I'll put it on YouTube too, but Periscope is going to be where you can actually interact because it has a chat function for those that are watching. So YouTube doesn't. Well, it does if you live stream, but I have to figure out how to do that. But anyways, I just feel in general like the watchers have been really, really low the last couple shows, and I've been busy with school and my cemetery book and getting that finished. So it really just hasn't been a driving force for me anymore. I'm just going in a totally different direction life-wise. So be on the lookout for updates on that. But I'm just not into the drama of reporting the news on Coffee Chatter. Hello. But it's morning still. I have my coffee next to me. It's not finished yet, hence the reason why I'm another issue why I canceled Coffee Chatter is that I'm not going to name any names, but there have been a few watchers, constant watchers, or at least they call themselves constant watchers, that have told me basically what to cover, and that doesn't work with me. I'm not a news show. I'm not going to report the same stuff that you're seeing in the news. That's what the news is for. This is more of an entertainment / commentary show, which honestly got its base off of Dancing with the Stars. So, and then I just added the other elements in to make it a longer program than just, this is what happened on Dancing with the Stars and I'll see you next week. Because I needed something to do during the off seasons, like currently now, and I just added the cold cases in, which I will still find a way to honor those cold cases that I haven't used yet. You will see that in the future. Like I said, keep your eyes tuned because there's lots of new stuff coming your way, just not in the form of a weekly show. Looking back, I've been doing this for 4 seasons, which isn't really 4 years, but yeah, I guess it is. Because Dancing with the Stars does 2 semesters a year, so I've been doing this for 4 years. This is season 4, so it's pretty good. I'm not on TV, so I'm not going to have a 20-season show. I can cancel myself whenever I want, which is what I'm doing. I will still do periodicals of Dancing with the Stars reviews, for those of you that specifically watch for that, like my friend Jen, who works Mondays. So she sometimes can catch the whole show, but other times she can't, and she feels like she misses what happened when she wasn't home. So, and there's others of you out there on Facebook land that have loved my Dancing with the Stars commentary. So I will definitely still do that for you. As a matter of fact, I think the season 21 cast should be announced pretty soon, because they start in mid-September. So usually the end of August or the second to last week of August, they announce the stars. So, and there have been no rumors this time. I've watched constantly, and there's no rumors. They're very hush-hush about who's on this season. So I don't know if it's big names or if it's piddle-paddle names or if they even started looking for stars. They might be doing a DTD season where they take forever to figure out who's going to be on. But everyone's hush-hush, so we'll see what that means. But looking back, also, some of my greatest moments with you guys were definitely getting to interview the 5 women from the Sisterhood was amazing, especially since they all took part. So Christy, Stacy, Francesca, my buddy, Claire, Isini. I think I got you all. If I missed one, I'm sorry. It was a pleasure to interview all of you. It was fun, and I wish that YouTube had a way where, or that we were closer where I could have had you live, but you know, we'll see what happens in the future. Maybe I'll get you to do a presentation with my new thing coming up, which I'm not going to announce the name of just yet, but my spiritual sister in Christ, Mary, already knows the name, so don't tell anybody, please, because I'll smack you. But it's just going to be a different format. It's more religious-based, as I explained already. Just courses and subjects that not a lot of people know about, like why we veil at Mass is going to be one. So all you people that saw my status message on Facebook about friends at church, you know, saying it's funny that I'm wearing a doily, as they call it, or it's actually a veil, but some people jokingly call it a doily, or they just say, you know, what's with the doily, or when did you become a doily head, or, you know, what, and others have been very sincere about it, and they generally want to know why people wear veils to Mass, which is really nice. So I figured I would do a special segment on that, along with other topics, plus the Bible study night, the prayer night, and book studies, which, again, more on that coming soon. I'm not too far into it right now, but I just want to offer something new and something more on the path that I'm heading towards, in one way or another. Let's see, other big highlights. Covering the Selena Cass story was pretty emotional, and it still is. They still haven't found her killer. Talking about my journey with my book has been really fun. I haven't really done it lately because I've been working on getting it done, but it is finished, and you know, that was always fun to talk about because I loved what I did, and I hope it does well. And of course, we've had some bad times too, like a couple seasons ago, we had a summer here in Manchester where there were some firebugs running around, lighting fires, lighting things on fire, and it seemed like every night for like a week, the firefighters were setting fires, or, I mean, putting out fires that were set, or there was also a lot of just regular old house fires, but the, excuse me, I have to move our mascot who's in the way. Just a lot of fires that could have been prevented, and people died. And that was because of poor fire alarms, poor escape routes, and also there was one lady who was stuck in her house because it was too cluttered. So those were some emotional and personal topics to talk about on this show. I believe I also covered the Casey Anthony story, as Jean Pirro did. That was pretty hard. The Charleston shootings, of course, is more recent. That was a big moment for me. I kind of came out on a news story that I don't, like I said earlier, don't really do, because I wanted to, you know, put my opinion out there. And I don't do it often, but I'm going to do it a little later about the Planned Parenthood defunding thing. Actually, I'm just going to jump right into that, and then I'll continue with what I was going to say later. New Hampshire is one of the few states that finally defunded Planned Parenthood. And before you haters or you pro-choicers or whatever say that, you start dousing my page with your excuses, let me tell you something. One of the biggest things that people annoy me with the whole Planned Parenthood thing is they're hiding behind the excuse that it helps poor people get mammograms or health care. Shouldn't that be the right of every human being in this country? So here's my thought. Take the funding away from Planned Parenthood, who, although they lie and say that the money that the state gets doesn't go to fund abortions, if you go in there and you look at their pages, it does. A lot of the money that us taxpayers give goes right to abortion funding. And that's the problem that a lot of your pro-lifers, not all Catholics are pro-life, although they should be. But in other words, what I'm trying to say is other faiths are also pro-life. It's not just Catholics. If you have a moral sensitivity and you know your science, the baby's heart rate or the baby's heart is developed by a very early time in their pregnancy. Before they're even considered a child, when they're still an embryo, the heart is created and developed. So all those people that are saying the baby has no heart, the baby feels nothing, they are wrong. Those babies are being torn apart and their body parts are being sold. And that's what this big thing is all about. Now, back to what I was saying. Take the funding away from that and open a freestanding clinic or a clinic that's run by a local hospital that can fund health issues with women, like cancer screening or birth control, which, here's a thought, if everybody would return to what sex is about, which is giving oneself fully to the person that you hopefully will marry, if not already married, instead of using it as a casual fling, you wouldn't have this problem. Because in my opinion, the only thing that sex is for is to create life. It shouldn't be used as a time flinger. It shouldn't be used as a casual event. And it definitely shouldn't be broadcasted all over Twitter. As you may have seen on Twitter, if you use Twitter, or actually I think it even made its appearance on Facebook because it was so popular, the Arch That Back Challenge, which is all about how women need to be recognized for their bodies and not for their success stories. And that honestly is a problem with me, because there are people like me that are either not interested in sex at all due to, in my case, discerning a religious vocation, or they just have no interest in it, or they're waiting until the right guy comes along. So what? We're not successful because we don't have sex. This is what I mean. Sex is becoming a human event. It's no longer a sacred event where it's either consummating your marriage if you waited until marriage, or you found someone that you truly love and you truly think is your man. I'm not going to go into the whole women and women thing because that's just a whole different story in itself, but if you have found the one you're meant to be with and you really think that's the person you're supposed to be with, then go ahead and do whatever you do. But it's not supposed to be meant for, a time passer. It's not a casual thing, and that's what the world is making it, which is why we have birth control. If people would go back to the way it was with sex, we wouldn't need it, because everyone would be in love with the person they're having sex with and therefore welcome bringing forth life. Another thing is, well, what happens if the child is raped or the mother's raped? Is it the baby's fault that the mother was raped? No. So why should the baby be killed? The baby has its own DNA past. It's not its mother's. Yes, it's in the mother's body, but it's not the mother. It's a whole nother child that deserves to live, that deserves to get an education, that deserves, who knows, maybe the person who was supposed to cure cancer was aborted because of a rape or an incest. An incest is a different topic that I'm not going to get into. That, yeah, maybe. But abortion and adoption are so close in spelling, and it's not a coincidence. Okay, so you were raped. I'm not degrading that. That's a horrible tragedy. That's horrible. You didn't get the chance to say, I want to give my virginity to this person. That's a horrible thing, and I'm not trying to downgrade the tragedy, but give the child the chance to live. Give it away for adoption. Or, infertility is so big today that almost every woman knows somebody in her friendly circle or family circle even that can't have a child. Offer that child to carry that child and give it to them. That way you're still in the child's life, but you're not responsible for it. There are ways around it. You don't have to kill the baby because it didn't work out for you. And I'm not, I'm Catholic, so I obviously don't believe in birth control. Or if I do, it's the natural methods, like the rhythm method or the calendar method, or the pulling out method, which doesn't always work, but it's accepted, sort of, under the Catholic doctrine. Again, depending on the sexual situation. But, there's other options. There's crisis centers. There's, I don't want to say, well, I'm pregnant now, let's go on food stamps. But, there are things out there that can help you get off your feet if you want this child. It shouldn't have to die because you were placed in a tragic situation. Now, if it's the health of the mother, that's different, but let's face it, that's not big anymore because medical has come so far. Chances are, if you have a serious problem with your health, you probably can't or shouldn't get pregnant to begin with. Because getting pregnant increases your health risk if you have a serious illness. Like, if you're overweight, that's not really, it's a problem, but it's not. I know many people that were severely overweight and they still carried a full-term child. But if it's something like you have low malignant cancer or you have endometriosis, chances are you're going to have a hard time getting pregnant anyways, because that's what those diseases do. But as far as like getting pregnant and then, oh, I have this health problem, it happens, but it's not as popular. Anyway, so I'm very happy that New Hampshire has defunded Planned Parenthood because I feel like now the state as a whole can figure out where to put its money. So those people that did use Planned Parenthood for only cancer screenings or health-related, checkups because they can't afford a full-term doctor or anything like that, they can now go back to the drawing board and figure out where to put the $650 million that the state of New Hampshire alone was sending to Planned Parenthood, and put it towards opening clinics, freestanding clinics for females that need that kind of help. Or, here's a thought, for every New Hampshire citizen who can't afford medical insurance, like me, and then they can open those kind of clinics for people that need cancer screenings, because I really believe that early detection is a big thing, especially with rare cancer, well, not rare, but hard to detect cancers like ovarian cancer, which masks itself in symptoms of severe PMS and other female diseases and illnesses. So usually with ovarian cancer, by the time they find it, it's too late because they've said, oh, well, you know, you have extreme abdominal cramps. Oh, that's probably just experienced PMS, or they don't know the or they know the symptoms, but they don't want to say that it's ovarian cancer. They want to shoo them off as, you know, PMS or endometriosis or PCOS, or, you know, they always try to diagnose you with something else before the true diagnosis. And with ovarian cancer, it's usually too late by the time that real diagnosis hits. So in closing, I just want to thank all of you that did watch on a regular basis, all of you that participated throughout the years in my Fan of the Week game, my little trivia game that I used to do. It's been a great ride with all of you, and I'd love to hear your favorite moments or your least favorite moments, as in, you know, the emotional topics that I've covered, the times I threw myself under the bus. And what I mean by that is, with controversial topics, I throw myself under the bus by giving my opinion on things, like the Planned Parenthood that I just did, or I did one earlier on psychic abilities, or I don't really like the word psychic, but intuitive or channeling abilities that I have, and how Catholics and Christians of some denominations are not supposed to believe in them, and how I differ from the modern, I hate that word too, but mediums of today, like Teresa Caputo, Adela on Twitter, although she's very good. She's like me. She's very spiritual. But some people can say that they're spiritual and they let what they do get away from them. Whereas others who have a natural gift from God, like I do, they truly offer it as a gift and they give it back by helping others, which is what I do. I don't charge anybody. I honestly don't even schedule readings. It just happens. If I'm with someone, I may say something that their father used to say, or bring back a moment that they remember, and they're like, how did you know that? And then usually after that, the person that this involved is usually there in spirit, and then I can relay messages. But I don't even really use it on a regular basis. It's not like the ones you see on TV. I don't, you know, I'm not walking through the grocery store and I hear someone talking and then I go, hey, yo, your brother's in the vegetable department. You know, I'm not Teresa Caputo. I don't, you know, I don't use it in public much, unless it's like, you know, I'm out to eat with a friend whose mother comes forward and we happen to be at a restaurant. That's different, because it's still just me and her mother. It's not the whole restaurant. I'm not doing a gallery moment, in other words. I can do those, but I don't, because it takes a lot of energy and I need energy to do homework, so I try not to do that too often. I mean, when I'm off from school, which happens in a few weeks, I do more of those, but I don't schedule them because I don't charge for them, so there's really no point in scheduling them. I let it happen completely by the Holy Spirit's grace and spontaneity, obviously. I could be riding in the car with someone and just say something, and they would be like, my dad used to say that. You know, I don't force it. I don't use it on a regular basis. I don't make it happen, which, let's face it, some psychics do. I don't fake it either, like the one upstairs. She's one of those where she will guess until she gets it right, or the person that she's reading is just like, okay, yeah, that's it, just to shut her up. I'm not like that. I'm not really out to say that you must believe in me or in what I do. I just if you ever are lucky enough to have an experience with me, which some of you'd have, just listen to whatever your loved ones are trying to say to you, and take it as a message from God that they're okay. Which, of course, our faith tells us that when someone dies, they're automatically all right. But, sometimes the world gets to us, like, oh, they committed suicide, they must be in hell, or, I didn't get to say goodbye, so they must be mad at me. Or I said goodbye, but they were on life support, so they couldn't communicate, or, that's the way of the world, and that's our minds. They're going to play tricks on us, and that's why I use my God-given ability to connect with those, hey, get down, mascots trying to make his appearance. This is Midnight. You can barely see him from behind me, but he likes to be around me when I do my shows. So in the future, with my new adventure, you will probably see him a lot, because I think he's also telling me to get out of his chair. This is his sleeping chair. But hey, dude, stop chewing on my hair. This is little Midnight. He's gonna be 2 next month. He's a big baby. And I know I look like I'm petting my hair, but the cat's behind me. There he is. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope many of you will join in on my new adventure. I have a cat climbing through my hair. This is quite interesting. And I will see you at the new adventure, which I will announce soon, probably by the end of the week, if not later today. However, it won't start for a while because I have to gather materials and figure out just the schedule of how it's going to go, and get an email group set up so people can know when to tune in and what the subject is going to be and stuff like that. Also, I'm going to try to figure out if normal people like me can live stream on YouTube, or if it's just, bigwig places like the bowling center or something like that. But yeah, thanks for watching all these wonderful seasons, and I will announce the new stars, and like I said, I will do little microbursts, is what I call them, of this is my opinion on how week 1 went, etc. I may or may not do every week, depending on, what I feel. Like if it was a week that totally did not interest me at all, I probably will not say anything. But if something major happened, like with last season, we had the huge shocker of Willow Shields going home early, because she was really, really good, but obviously her fans did not vote that night. I would probably do a night on that because, it was a big talker and it's a shock. So if something like that happens again, or if, by God, anything happens to a star during Dancing with the Stars, like they may have an injury that they have to pull out, or they get sick, or something happens. Like last season, you had all the surprises by Noah Galloway with, his now fiance came home once and surprised him. And he also proposed live on the air. If anything major like that happens, yeah, I'll cover it. I'll do a special scope, or not scope, but show like this. I'll do a broadcast about it. But, if it's a low-scoring night and I just really was not impressed with anything, or, this is the season where it happens during football season, so there may be some nights where, and it's also election season, so there may be some weeks where I can't watch it because it's covered on another station that I do not get, or it's not on at all. Last year they used MeTV as, they had it streaming on MeTV, so people that wanted to watch it could watch it. But other times they just say, whatever, Dancing with the Stars will be on at like 2 in the morning. And I haven't been staying up that late lately. I've been going to bed pretty early. So, we'll see what the season has, and hopefully they have some A-listers for once. The last couple seasons, they've had a few A-listers, and the majority of them have been C and even D and F listers. So hopefully they have some good stars this season. So I will see you in a couple weeks for the opening season of Dancing with the Stars to announce who's dancing with who. And then otherwise, I will see you at the new event, probably starting in September. Thanks for all your support, and I hope to see many of you current watchers over at the new show. Thank you, and as always, God bless your day.